All right, Hubert Lee. Pretty amazing stuff going on out there, brother.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ridgely. Everybody, welcome to Mind Types After Dark.
Indeed, indeed. We love that. Uh, so before we get in, because this is just so crazy what is going on, um, I have to say, I don't remember. I remember with the seismic things that have been happening with AI, it has been pretty crazy, but I don't remember anything being this big.
That's because you haven't been following it as long as I have. For historical perspective, let me give you a bit of background. And the most common thing ever said originally has always been, "Oh, SEO is dead." So this
Yeah,
is the
right.
latest. This is the latest SEO is dead. And this time, maybe it really is, but we'll talk about that soon. But originally let's talk about some seismic things that are happening in the world of Google and SEO and AI. But just to give you a little historical reference, originally, it used to be very easy to use gray hat and black hat techniques to rank yourself well in Google, right? Because the way the algorithm was first set up, it was actually, let me ask you this as a trivia question. Does anybody know the original name of Google before it was called Google? And everybody's out there Googling it and all of this stuff, right? No, we're talking about
Mike says
way back in
hard.
the day, way back in the day when when Larry and Sergey came up with the idea, and it's predicated, I'll give you a hint. It's predicated on the idea of how do you determine what should be ranked well by how many links are linking to a certain resource, right? So they called it back rub or something like that. It was backlink or back rub or something, back something, because it was all predicated on the number of backlinks that you would get. Okay. Now we're talking about, 20 years ago or whatever, but the world has changed in that originally it used to be very easy to game your way into it by creating these artificial linking networks, these blog or website networks that you would create a zillion websites, and then you would create backlinks from those zillion websites to your sites and artificially inflate the perceived value of a site. Well, originally, back in the day, one day it stopped working. And that seismic change is actually on the level of this seismic change that we're talking about, right? And so when you and I started this, we first started getting wind of you need to earn your way to the top. The content actually has to be useful and helpful. So last year, Google really started on the helpful content update, right? If your site and your content wasn't being helpful, you got trashed. A lot of the sites that got hit never recovered. Now we're on the precipice of, and actually it has launched. So everybody, what we're getting at is that there's been a major core update, the June core update of 2025, the second update of the year. And it really revolves around content and the fact that content needs to be useful in a certain way. So we're going to dive
Well, I
into
think
that.
more than that, Huey. I mean, it's uh it's in my mind the seismic change here. Yes, we've been talking about de-indexing and we've been talking about content, we've been talking about all of that. But to me, the big seismic change is that AI is now going to drive new business acquisition. And if you don't understand how AI works and how to position yourself in front of the AI engines, all that other stuff that you got going on is going to be
Yeah.
left in the dust, whether that's paid traffic, whether that's organic traffic, search engine traffic. It is going to become so much less significant. Let me restate that. It is already so much less significant and
Yes.
growing at an alarming rate. And these stats are almost a little frightening. It's like I've never seen anything move this fast. And I'm happy to report that if you're in this mastermind, you have a massive edge because we are way ahead of everybody. Our clients are crushing it right now because we're ahead of this, and we're going to show you exactly how that works and what it looks like. But I'm telling you, man,
Okay. Yes.
if people that don't understand this, they're toast, bro.
So when we started this mastermind, this was before AI, this was before everything. I used to say something to Ridgely, and I could see the look of disbelief on Ridgely's face. Because Ridgely would always talk about, well, the best practice is to put this above the fold, right? It was always like opt-in forms, Hubert, put it above the fold. I would be, no, you gotta like scroll and all of this stuff, right? And then Ridgely one day said, why are you so resistant about like above the fold? And I said, because the fold is a concept that's not going to be around much longer. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, imagine that there's no screen, therefore there's no fold, right? And Ridgely's like, are you out of your mind? Are you insane? Right? So now there's the concept of what Ridgely's talking about. In the old world, we had the Google search links. Google used to, on page one, show 10 links. Originally, they called that the 10 blue links. Okay. These days, Ridgely is going to show you, what's on the page. But the idea is that there's a concept called zero clicks, meaning you're going to ask the search engine a question and you're going to get your answer, and there's going to be zero clicking involved. So Ridgely, give us your famous example of like where we've come to today of how you use, you know, search engines or AI
Yeah,
engines.
no, it's just crazy. It is really crazy. And everybody, what I love about this is that human nature and human behavior goes in cycles and it repeats itself. So I'm throwing this out there for all of us who would have gray hair if we didn't color it, right? Like me. Anybody remember Ask Jeeves? When Ask Jeeves came out, Ask Jeeves became ask.com over time. But Ask Jeeves was this cool new thing, right? Like, wow, I can ask this Jeeves anything on the internet and it'll tell me stuff, right? In other words, I'm going to have a conversation with the internet through Ask Jeeves, an
Right.
application, and it's going to give me feedback. Well, in November of 2020,
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
there it is, right?
wait,
There's
let's go
that,
down memory lane. Let's go down memory lane. Like
that goofy looking
Jeeves was a
character with the red tie.
Jeeves was a butler, right? The idea was that he was the butler. He was the concierge, right? And if you needed something, you asked Jeeves. And here was the interface. And this was meant to compete with Google. But of course, as many things that are before their time, it didn't work well. But this was the first, what was called the ask engine, not a search engine, but an ask engine, meaning a question engine.
And then, so November 2022 rolls around, and this weird thing hits the internet. It's called chat, as in talk, like ask Jeeves, GPT, right? Chat GPT came out, and it was the same concept. Let's talk using typing, and then have an interface back and forth with the World Wide Web and the knowledge that's on the World Wide Web. And obviously, that was the beginning of AI. So, where is AI and the human experience coming together? It's coming together in that people are learning that they don't have to type at all. They don't have to do that at all. They can do something like this. And you guys, we use examples of dentists because the dentist is our core business, and we're crushing it for dentists, which is awesome. Um, Now, somebody that has a problem is going to do something like this. They're going to grab their device, whatever device they have, or the computer. They're going to hit a button that says speaker on it, or they're just going to talk in and they're going to say, hey, ChatGPT, got a question for you, right? They're not even going to type at all. They don't have to click squat. And they're going to say, hey, I've been for the last few years, I've been kind of suffering with my mouth. I've got a few missing teeth, and I'm kind of scared of the dentist, and I don't know if I need a denture or maybe an implant or something. But I live in Cookeville, Tennessee, and can you recommend something for me? That's how we as human beings are going to interface with AI. Now, if you're AI, think of all the information that you need to take in to give an intelligent response. I'm scared. I don't know what I need. I'm missing a couple of teeth. I live in Cookville. I do this. It's been a few years now. All of that is much more sophisticated than what we think of as traditional search, which would be something like dental implant Cookville or sedation dentistry Cookville or something. You're not going to get that anymore. Now it is going to be the combination of the human experience talking with AI then interpreting, which means what? If you are not set up to have AI understand you based on AI friendly language, and we're going to talk about a whole new language that is coming out right now in just a second, and having your website designed so that it sounds like a human experience, you're dead meat. You're dead. You're never going to show up anywhere. And we're going to pull up results because I did searches a little while ago, Hubert, just for fun.
Oh, did
I,
you?
I went out into 3 different locations.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them were dominating 100%. All of them.
Oh, I want you to show me. That's excellent.
So I don't know if you want to take it from here in terms of like what's really going on behind the scenes. That's the Ridgely
Yes.
layman's term interpretation. But the bottom line is, if you don't know what's going on, you are
Right.
toast. You're like your competition is going to obliterate you.
Oh, yeah. So let me actually give you the official news now that it's official, because the last time we've been speaking about this, it was not yet acknowledged by Google, and since it has been. So let me catch everybody up. First off, welcome all everybody. I see familiar names, I see some new names. So welcome everybody. Annalisa, Araceli, Bill, Kurt, again, long distance Kurt,
All the
David,
way from
Dorina.
Johannesburg, South Africa, where it's freezing right now. Just saying. While we're roasting away in North America, it is freezing down there. So awesome.
Exactly. Dorina, I hope you're well. Dr. Art,
David's
Jim, my
here.
buddy. Yes.
Hey, David.
Joyce, Linda, how are you, Linda? Scott Brown, and Mike Paul. Mike, it's been a while. Welcome back. You chose an excellent time to
Oh,
resurface
yeah.
just in time for all the
Oh, yeah.
mayhem. Yep. Okay. So welcome everybody. All right. So here's the deal. At the end of May, we noticed some weirdness going on in terms of Google de-indexing a significant number of pages. The Google Index is the database of URLs out in the web that Google can serve up in the Google searches, right? They actually cut down the number of pages in their index across the board, okay? Some huge sites got hit. We dug in and we saw that it was pages were being de-indexed primarily because of thin content issues, meaning if the page didn't deserve to be listed because it was duplicative, replicated certain things, didn't have enough words. It was just housekeeping type stuff. Google just actually decided to remove those from their index. Many sites got hit in terms of 40-50% of their pages just got removed from Google. Okay? More changes started happening in the beginning of June, and lower quality content pages started disappearing. Okay. It turns out that on June 30th, Google announced that they were rolling out the second core update of the year. Okay, now a core update is a major change, in the Google algorithm, and they only do this a couple of times a year. They had announced that they wanted to do it more frequently, but we haven't seen that frequency pick up yet. Maybe it's because between core updates, they're making these adjustments now. But this latest June core update of 2025 just happened, and a lot of sites are affected. Okay. And originally, I'll tell you from a business sense why these pages are getting de-indexed, what it's all about. But I'll tell you that the pages that are targeted for de-indexing have to do with lower quality pages. And frankly, Google's doing it the right way. Pages that don't deserve to rank are being cut out. Okay. And after we talk about what is going on and why, we're going to give you a couple of recipes to make sure that your pages are unique, your pages are helpful, your pages are high quality. And the key, really, originally, the theme ties back to this being a Mind Types After Dark session. It's about gracefully talking about yourself in a unique and compelling way, which all comes back down to limbic messaging and knowing your mind type and basing your messaging on that. So originally, before we get into the how and the what, Tell us the why. What is going on in the world that Google wanted to preserve what's called their compute power?
Yeah, so Google has a big challenge, right? We got Elon Musk with all his muscle and Grok. We have Sam Altman with billions and billions of dollars of venture capital behind ChatGPT. We got the Chinese government doing stuff over here. And then we have Google, the 800 pound search engine gorilla, trying to figure out how do we keep pace with the development of AI for what we're doing, which is helping our clients with Gemini, with SGE, search generative experience, right? How do we do that? And suddenly the realization was, well, wait a second, we've got these huge data centers and we are pouring tons of compute power into indexing and visiting and crawling billions and billions of web pages every single day to figure out which ones we think are the right ones. What if we were to get some of that compute power back? How could we divert that compute power into AI, which also requires insane amounts of compute power? Oh, I know what we can do. We'll just create some criteria to de-index, take out of the crawlers a whole bunch of pages on a global basis, literally 30 to 40% of global pages, insane. And what we're going to do is we're just going to eliminate those so that when we're crawling through websites, if they've been de-indexed, we're not crawling that page anymore. We're gaining that compute power back. So what are the pages that are gone? Thin content, duplicative content, templated content, AI only content, and more importantly, content that doesn't offer any value to the user or visitor that has largely been created to make a site look robust, which a few days before AI was a big deal. Before AI, if you had 100 pages, that was good. If you had 1,000 pages, that was better, right? You're robust, you're whatever. Now, it's not that way at all. Now you're getting penalized for that thin content, as you well should be, because it's not worth anything. So we need to go back to only good content. It's like Hubert refers this to as put your website on a diet. If there's yucky content in there, make it invisible. You don't have to kill it. You can just make it invisible so that the crawlers don't spend any time looking at bad content because they're going to de-index you. They're going to penalize you and they're going to take you down. It gets worse though. It gets way worse. Because what's happening is not only do you have to put your website on a diet and slim it down so you've got it to a place where when Google arrives with the crawlers using the language that Google's bots understand, which is robots.txt, right? Which Hubert's going to explain in a minute because I know enough about this to be like really dangerous, but not much more than that, right? Um, Now you actually have to begin speaking a new language, llms.txt, large language model, that's AI, s.txt, in order for your website to invite the AI engine in to check out your content, to make sure that it's valuable, etc. And not only that, when it gets there, the content has got to be AI friendly. It's a whole new language. There's a whole new series of things that you have to do to your site in order to dominate your space, or you're going to get crushed. And what's even worse is Google, the 800-pound gorilla that it still is, has now inserted a new section on every page called the AI overview. And what's going to be served up first to all prospects, including all of your competitors' prospects, is the AI overview. And we're going to show you some examples of this. But if you're not dominating and putting yourself in that AI overview, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on advertising because it's below the AI overview. It doesn't matter how good you are at search engine ranking because it's below the AI overview. The AI overview is taking over. That's why it's called the overview above everything else. It's taking over the space that your prospects are going to see first. And if you're there, they're going to call you. And if you're not, they're going to call your competition. Hubert?
Exactly. Do you have that graph? Do you have that table, Richly, that you can pull up of the recent growth of AI overviews? You show us the
I do.
stats, and then I'll show us an example of what it actually looks like. But it's
It's
startling,
just
folks.
super
It's
crazy.
it is
This is
crazy, and
insane.
this is to Richly's point about how this is unlike the speed. The speed is unlike anything we've seen in recent history. So this is the last 6 months, and Richly, what are we looking at here?
Check this out. The percentage of queries that showed up with AI overviews above everything else. In other words, whoever was in that overview dominated. January 6.5, February 7.6, March 13.1, May about 50%, 47%, June over 50, closer to 57%. In other words, within 6 months, this is insane, people. This is insane. Within 6 months, Google is saying we're going to serve up AI overviews above all paid traffic, above all search engines, above the maps over 50% of the time. So if your website is not optimized for AI, if you're not speaking the language of AI, if you're not paying attention to this, you are disappearing. Everything is changing. Everything is changing. And we got to move fast. By the way, Hewlett and Ridgely, we love this. Because what does
Yeah,
this mean? It means we have a monster edge in the marketplace. It means we can dominate, right? It means that I'm getting in front of people. So to give you a crazy number, in the last 10 days, I picked up 3 different monster dental practices by showing them what had happened and having them say, basically, oh, frick, uh, can you take over my stuff? We haven't even started marketing, man. We haven't even started conversations others than on a tiny little level. But the
yeah,
opportunity is insane for those who
exactly.
understand what's going on.
Let me give you guys a visual as to what an AI overview looks like. And I'm sure you've experienced it already, but if you type in what is the best brand of bologna, okay? Like I follow this space, right? I'm a bologna fan. Before you start getting to the various links, okay? The normal links, best bologna, blah blah blah, whatever. Up over here is this section that's AI overview. Okay, now not every single query that you enter, and query is just a search, not everything that you search for has an AI overview. But in the last 6 months, it went from 6% to 57%. Next month, it's going to be even higher. We're moving geometrically, right? This is not a linear thing. This is like blink, and you're going to see that everything is here. Now, here's the deal about the zero clicking. If I, as a consumer, I'm at the supermarket and I ask my phone, what's the best brand of bologna? This AI overview pops up and I'm looking at it. Of course, I'm busy. I don't want to read. It already helpfully highlights Boar's Head beef bologna, right? That actually is not the world's best bologna, but you know, I'm only a daily bologna eater, right?
Oh, hold on. It's not the world's best bologna, but it's the world's best advertised bologna on AI,
There
right?
you
It
go.
doesn't matter if it's the world's
Exactly.
best bologna. It's the world's best AI friendly bologna at the moment.
Exactly. Okay. So there are ways to get yourself placed by AI up in this AI overview. Okay. So now this is a joke of an example, but what if you're a high roller, you're visiting Vegas and you have a tooth problem and only the best is good enough for you. So you go and you ask, uh, who is the best concierge dentist in Las Vegas? Okay. And this is a real life example. Okay. Dr. Todd Snyder is a client of ours, and we've placed his appearance so that he's the only one recommended in the AI overview. The links right here are from his website. If you click the show more, it's all this stuff about him from the website. Okay. Our
And that's
regular
above everything else, guys. Do you guys get this? It's above the paid traffic. It's above the maps. It's above organic. It's
yeah.
first on every level.
And then we start getting to the normal SEO, which we've placed them first in the organic linking here, right? And then there's the whole concept here of people also ask. Now, this people also ask thing, note the megatrend that's happening. Google's being helpful and they're surfacing a panel called People Also Ask. What are these? They're all questions. The world has moved into the mode of the preferred way of giving information in a search engine is to ask and answer questions, right? Highly, highly important. Okay, then you get to the normal links. And if you do it right, you can appear multiple times. This link right here is our link, right? And so there are ways to kind of do this. We were talking earlier to our we have a dentist in Cookville, and we were saying who is the best dentist in Cookville for, you know, dental implants or smile makeovers, and you
Well, he
click
likes
it.
sedation. Sedation is his number one thing.
So and look, it highlights Dr. Kevin Hayes and Dr. Sandy Hayes, right? So for dental implants in Cookville, and are often recommended. They're known for providing the all four blah 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 blah. Okay, now get this, folks. This is the secret. AI says these are often recommended. My favorite trick is to, when you write your content, you can say, looking for an expert in dental implants. People often recommend Dr. Kevin Hayes and Dr. Sandy Hayes. If you phrase it like that, and it's true because we have plenty of um, Google reviews to prove it, when you phrase it like that, the engines pick it up. It's very easy these days to suggest approaches and answers to the AI engines. Let me show you. This is literally 1 day old. And Ridgely, you can give some background on this. But we went so far as to redo their website to cater to AI. This is all AI-friendly content, okay, for the site. And it's limbic, and we'll talk about limbic and mind types messaging in a second, okay? We believe in making you feel at home. But the heart of the page is the feedback from real people, but then also this question and answer section here with every page becomes question based. What should I expect during my first visit and everything else? What makes Hayes Family Dentistry different? If you put questions and answers in your content, AI loves that. Anything to say about AI friendly content, originally?
Yeah, for sure. You have to think, what would somebody ask? Hey, does a dental implant hurt? You got to put that in the FAQs. Does sedation dentistry, am I asleep? Put that in the FAQs. Why? So that when the AI is looking for those things that people say, because they're on their phone, right? They're on their phone. And what do they have on their phone? What they have on their phone is they have a chat GPT on their phone. See that chat GPT. Now, if I got chat GPT, I don't have to type anything. I click on the microphone and I start talking. Hey, I really need to find out who is the best sedation dentist in Cookeville, Tennessee. Right? I mean, and then look at that. Hey, I really need to find out who's the best sedation dentist in Cookeville, Tennessee. Okay. And then we get recommendations, and that's how these things are going to happen. Right? So, what's the upside? You have to prepare for this to stay competitive. You have to make sure that you are doing AI friendly content, that you understand how this works. And I'm going to share my screen for just a second because I want to make sure that everybody understands. This is, hold on, hit the wrong button here. 1 second. I got to go back to where I'm on my laptop. What am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing here. Eh, that's not where I want to be. Hold on, clicking that out of here. Oh, I know why. I had some stuff from earlier that I need to clear out real quick. Let me just bring this up one more time though, because I want to show you guys something that really is pretty ridiculous. Um, and so share my screen one more time. Here we go. So let's just go over here. So in case anybody thinks we're kidding, right? So best sedation. Let me just type or go up here and do another one. Best sedation dentist in Sylacauga, Alabama. What's going to happen? Of course, I got an ad summary at the top, but below that, where it first starts, AI overview. For those seeking sedation and dentist in Sylacauga, Southern Smiles of Sylacauga, da, da, da. And look at this. All three spots on the side, top spot. Complete domination. I think it's really important to understand this is above everything else, right? It's above the maps, it's above organic, it's above everything. So
And let me
think of what you can do if you get it.
can you share that screenshot again? I mean, share your screen again, because I just want to point out, yes, we're number one in the
Dominate
AI
everything.
overview, but scroll down and then look right under the AI, the places. This is your maps listing. We actually have that sewn up as first also. Now scroll down and go into the organic. We're the first one there. And then scroll down, and then you'll see that we appear multiple times in this. So on page one, we've sewn it up and locked it up very, very tightly. So this can happen, and you can do it.
And by the way, sedation dentistry is by far the most lucrative thing for that dentist. So that's why we're doing that. And that's why we're trying to share this with all of you.
Yes. And so let's just catch up on the what's going on in the chat, because a lot of questions are being asked. Okay. And so please ask again if I don't cover your question. So Mike Paul is asking, does this change strategy if you use Google Ads? Okay, great question. We do a lot of Google Ads management for our clients, and it does affect it, Mike, but in a secondary way. Okay. So of course, when you place an ad, there's a cost for the ad. Okay. Google determines the cost of the ad and your placement in terms of how you're ranked when somebody does a certain query and they show all the paid ads. They'll place you depending on how they feel your landing page or your website meets their current criteria. Okay, so indirectly, your ad costs will be lower and your ad placement will be higher if you change your underlying landing pages and website to fit in with what's going on with the Google search engines, right? And if you had thin content, and believe me, I used to see this a lot. People thought that, oh, buying a Google ad will make them bulletproof in terms of the content that they had to put on the site. It's actually no longer true. Your sites need to deserve to be, placed well. Even if you're buying ads, you're competing with other people based on your content. Okay. And then Jim's asking a couple of times, the other search engines, such as SGs and so forth, can you still see your original content that Google has dropped you for? The answer is yes, but if you look at, and I'll just share the stats, because the stats have become even more ridiculous than it has been historically. Okay, so the real game in town, this is the market share of search engines, right, from 2015 to March of this year. So look, the blue line is Google, right? And so still it's, let's go to today. Now it's dropped off since the high. Last year, 2 years ago, Google had 87% and Bing had 68. But look at this. We're now, Google is still 79%, and Bing, interestingly, is catching up. Bing is the dark line down here. Okay. And of course, why are they catching up? They're catching up because of their big push in terms of this, all of their emphasis on AI and stuff like that. So they're starting to catch up. But when you look at these minor engines, they're down at the DuckDuckGo is 0.87%. They're so like obscure that, short of like philosophical reasons, don't even use those. The big game in town is still either Google or Bing, but by far it's Google. Okay, so I just wanted to update everybody on that. Bridget, good to see you on the call. Bridget is kidding me and saying bologna and seasoned pans. Cast iron, you amaze me, Hubert. Well, I continue to amaze myself. Joyce asks, when you say templated content will be targeted, does that mean AI built websites or even manually built, but with templates and not via code? For example, if we let AI build our sites through Hostinger, and so what Joyce is referring to is that there are many tools in web hosting companies such as Hostinger and GoDaddy and these other things that'll kind of spin up a site for you automatically based on AI. Okay. And so let me pull up a chart that I just sent my team. And this will illustrate, let's see here. I'm going to say AI. All right, here we go. Barry Schwartz. Okay. Here we go. Let me just pull, hold on. Give me one more second. And this will answer your question. Here we go. All right, so let me pull up my screen. Take a look at this, everybody. All right. So I sent to my team, important to read. Okay. Now look at this chart. They did a study and they looked at the top 20 search results. SERPs stands for search engine result pages. Okay. So they looked at the top 20, meaning page 1 and page 2. And they looked at the prevalence and style and usage of AI. If you let AI write all the content without intervention, only 4% of the top 20 results use straight AI. Okay. 7.8 is dominant AI, meaning it's mostly AI. 20% is substantial use of AI. Pure human has fallen down to 13%. Okay. Minimal AI is 13%, but the largest by far at 81, 82% is moderate AI. And what this is the best practice is this. Okay. So Joyce, use your AI tools and let it come up with the content. But then, and this is Ridgely's favorite thing, he doesn't start from scratch. He starts with AI or conversing with somebody else, getting that first draft, and then laying over it his own take. Okay, it's much easier, and I'll have Ridgely kind of explain his own personal workflow. But when you start off with AI, but then put your own human layer on top of that, that's the winning ticket right now for your website content. Okay, super, super important. And actually, it makes your workflow very, very easy. Ridgely, do you want to explain, like, typically when you have a writing assignment, how do you start off and what do you do to kind of add your own layer to it? Because I know you do this all the time.
Yeah. So the first thing I do is, and by the way, for those who don't know, I'm kind of a super geek in this area, right? I've written 20 books, 19 of them myself, the old style way, only one of them using AI. Okay. So, and believe me, it's a lot harder. So what I do is I'm going to use the tool as a way of kicking things off. I'm going to give the tool a role to play. I'm going to say you're an expert copywriter and a direct response marketer or whatever it may be. And what I need is this and this and this and this. And I'm gonna spend more time writing the prompt. I'm never gonna do something like, hey, I need a blog post about sedation dentistry. Give me one, please. No, I'm gonna spend a lot of time writing the prompt. What am I looking for? I am always at the end of the prompt going to say, ask me questions about how to make this better so that we really get the best possible result. I'm then going to answer the questions and I'm going to spend the time training the tool on what I need before I click go. So, literally, now it is taking me far more time to write the prompts than it is to correct the content. Now, once that is all done and I hit go and the content is produced literally in like 30 seconds or 40 seconds, then I go back into that content and I say, let me see what would I like to have tweaked? How would I like to have this improved using AI still? And I do that. And then once I've done that, I then take that content. Now, this is the way I do it. I take that content, I move it from my AI tool of choice, which is generally ChatGPT initially. I put it into a Google Doc, and then I edit all the content to give it my own personal flavor. Okay, now here's the cool, super cool hack. And if you've been on this mastermind, you've heard it before. So I've used one set of AI to create initial versions. I've tweaked it myself to make it more human. So assisted AI, which is what Hubert just showed you, is the most prevalent for top pages, right? Then I put it into Google and then I reworked the whole thing. And then if I thinking maybe I could be even more cool, I go to Gemini, which is live in Google, and I say to Gemini, take all of the content that's right here and give me suggestions on how you would make it better. So now I've used one AI tool to create original content. I've then made it my own, and then I've gone to a second tool to refine that content. And I'm telling you, I can't write that well. I just can't. What comes out of there is just freaking awesome. It's like, psh, okay, done, finished. And that, by the way, is like my 5-part email series. Boom, finished.
That's great. Okay, so catching up again on more people. So this obviously is meaningful to people. A lot of great comments, a lot of great questions here. Okay, so Scott is asking, Hubert, does the people also ask section reveal the top SEO phrases? Scott, that is the number one focus that we're on right now. We have the need to phrase our content in questions, and we have Google giving you for your queries. The people often also ask questions. Okay, so we have if you think I'm geeky, we have a super geek on our team. His name is Andrew, and he's really into SEO. And he shared with me a software package that he got access to that actually goes and data mines the people also ask questions. And it goes and copies them all, and it gives you a database of them. Okay. What do you do with them? You take those questions and you answer them in your own FAQ in your own unique way. Okay, so we know because Google told us these are the most popular. People also ask questions, right? So they're highly, exactly what you say, Scott, highly effective for SEO. And the challenge is, how do you answer it in your own unique way? The answer is simple. Okay, you answer it in using what we've always been teaching, the partner attraction formula. Okay, step number one of the partner attraction formula is to make it limbic. When you make it limbic, Google is looking for content on the pages that's unlike everybody else. If you use AI and some other person uses AI and you say to your AI, make this emotionally meaningful, visual, and limbic using statements in the form of we believe in, you deserve, because such and such matters, we picture a world where, and you hit your button and they hit their button, Google's going to like your version better because it's an emotionally resonant piece that, yes, it was produced by AI, but it's way better than how everybody else is doing it, right? Now, if you follow Ridgely's technique and then you start with that and then you put your own human layer on that, you have a winning recipe. So, Scott, what you've provided is the roadmap of what to use that technique on first, and that's to do the people also ask questions and make that an FAQ on your current web pages.
Okay, team. So we're about to geek out here for a second because I'm about to ask Hubert a super geeky question.
Okay.
Because there is a way you can take this even further. Okay. Um, and I don't want to make this overly complicated, but AI is so smart that it learns based on your usage as well, right?
Yes.
So for me, because I use ChatGPT all the time, and because we're always talking limbic messaging, we're always talking client-centric copy, clear calls to action, etc. AI has slowly but surely become trained on my voice. It is more and more the way that I want to make things sound like and be like. If you are in a vertical, a particular vertical, like we are, like dentistry, then AI is trained on dentistry and Ridgely's voice and Hubert's voice and limbic messaging, etc., by definition. Okay? But wait a second. You can do this for yourself too. You can do this. You can train the AI tool to create a GPT, and Hubert's going to explain this here in just a second, that is really based on you. How far can you take this? Well, here's the easy way. The easy way is to come up with your ideal client profile, right? And write that down, put that in the GPT. Have some information about stuff that you have going on, put that in the GPT. Hubert's going to explain how to do this in just a second. Get some general knowledge in the industry, put that in the GPT. Or if you really wanted to, you could basically record every single thing you ever do on the internet from this point forward, every single thing, everything, and put that into the GPT to really provide your voice. For me, it's happening automatically because I'm pretty much focused in the elite dental space most of the time. So by definition, almost everything I'm doing is informing AI about my voice. But Hubert, tell the good folks here how they can do that, even if they're jumping all over the place, how they could still create their own informed GPTs to speak in their voice no matter where they're playing.
Yes. So here's the secret. And if you haven't caught on yet, okay, so a lot of people have asked me over the last few months, hey, I use ChatGPT Plus. Should I continue using it? Okay. And I say, well, it's probably the best $20 you can spend a month ever. Okay. So it's 3 cappuccinos or whatever at Starbucks you can give up and have ChatGPT Plus. Okay. And the reason why I say it is because in response to Ridgely's question, what Ridgely's getting at is if you have a ChatGPT Plus account, that's the premium version of ChatGPT, by default, it learns now from you going across your queries. Okay, so it will sort out what go-to style um you always go with. And as a matter of fact, it may so Ridgely has the luxury of having his own GPT that has learned from him. I share a GPT with several team members. Okay. And so his is more trained than mine, but even mine with input from 3 people, it's institutionalizing across 3 people and their niches how we answer in terms of tone and stuff like that. So my first answer is if you have ChatGPT Plus, you don't even need to explicitly train it because it's learning and working with you. Okay, so anybody that has a ChatGPT Plus account that uses it a lot, you probably noticed that already. What Ridgely is talking about is training specifically what's called a GPT. Okay, and so I just want to share in the link for everybody to look at what Mike Paul's been doing. Okay, so again, Mike, I'm glad you're back with us. We missed you. You always have awesome input. Mike said, I created a custom GPT to create limbic messaging. I conducted a workshop today for a local chamber of commerce and used that limbic message GPT in the exercises and blew away the attendees. That is awesome. Now, folks, Ridgely can tell you how we did this in dentistry and then before that in a bunch of other niches. But Mike is onto something. Okay. What you learn here in this mastermind, if you take this and go to your local chamber or your local group and you say, here's what I've been doing, and you show them, you're instantly at the top of your class and you're the AI expert. That's instant credibility. Okay, so you do with that what you want, side business and consulting or whatever. It's just like Mike can tell you exactly, how effective that is. Further down in the chat, Mike also said, here's a share for everyone for my limbic messaging custom GPT, and he actually dropped the link. So I'm actually going to share, and we're all going to look at it together. And so here it is here. Let me click it. This is a custom chat GPT that is coming up. This is by Mike Paul. We're looking at this for the first time. Limbic Messaging Creator by Michael Paul. Transform user content into concise, emotionally resonant limbic messaging. And actually, let me pull that up into where I'm logged in. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Actually, I have ChatGPT open here, and I'm just going to go and load it. Okay, so here we go. All right. So It transforms your content. So it looks like you can upload a document or you can enter a URL to transform it. Okay. So let me just, Ridgely, do you have a URL that we want to like test this with?
Uh,
Do you have a piece of content that is lacking? Well, let's actually choose. Let me invite people in the chat. If you have a URL that, okay, so presentation design expert by Bridget. Let me copy that. So Bridget is always the first in the gun. You can never beat. Oops, you can never beat Bridget in terms of being fast. Okay, I'm gonna type it in. She says that presentationdesignexpert.com has not been limbified. Okay, presentation design expert.com. I'm going to put that in there. And here we go, courtesy of Mike Paul. Great, I'm ready to help you craft your limbic messaging. To get started, please upload a document or enter a URL. I entered a URL already. Hold on. Let me copy that. I'll put that in here. And I'm going to hit. Okay. So what it's going to, once I have that, I'll generate 32 concise, emotionally resonant statements across 4 categories. Okay. Looks like I'm having trouble due to a technical issue. Oh, boo. So actually, let me do this. Let me go to presentation design expert. Okay. So I'm literally going to go in here, copy all of the content, go back and literally paste. Okay. And then I'm going to hit enter. All right, so now it's got the content and it says, thank you. Based on the content, I've created 32 emotionally resonant limbic messages. We believe boring slides waste brilliant ideas.
that's really good. I love that. I like
That's a
that a
good
lot,
one.
actually.
We believe great design builds audience trust. You deserve. You deserve slides that earn standing ovations. You
That's good
deserve to
too.
feel proud on stage. Because audience connection matters more than bullet points. Because first impressions matter on every slide.
Some of the you deserves are really good too. Okay, go
We
ahead.
picture a world where no one dreads another slideshow.
Yeah. That's good too.
We picture a world where slides spark real conversations. That's excellent. Okay, so Mike Paul has taken this technique and created his own PAF brain. That is excellent. Very, very excellent. While we have ChatGPT up, let me also answer a question by, let me just see who asked this question. Let me see who it was. David. David asked, can you ask AI what questions do people ask most? The answer is yes, of course. So I said, give me some people also ask questions in the field of sedation dentistry. Here are some people also ask style questions commonly found in the field of sedation dentistry. Okay, written to reflect the format used by Google search. So originally, take a look at this. We have 15 things to write
Hmm.
FAQ things about. Poof. This has become like the research is easy, the execution is easy, and the delivery now is easy. So it's incredible. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and the key thing here, team, is it is incredible. It's very simple if you understand it, but it is so important to get ahead of things. Hubert, we cannot leave here without explaining llms.txt.
yes, okay.
Go
All right.
for
So now folks, okay. So this is cutting edge. Okay. All right. So back in the day in SEO 1.0, there's a file, and this is getting geeky, but there's a file called robots.txt. Robots.txt is the file that you put on your website. And again, it's geeky, but it invites certain search bots in, it keeps certain ones out. And it was very highly influential in kind of welcoming in bot traffic into your website for the purpose of SEO. Okay, cool. That's a thing of, that's a tried and true technique. Okay, it's called robots.txt. Okay, cool. The new equivalent is called LLMS. Okay, actually, let's take my own medicine. We're gonna go to Chat GPT. Okay, act as an expert webmaster and explain to me the value of using a llms.txt file, explain what it is and why it will help with my site appearing in AI answers. Okay. Now, this is top secret. Practically nobody is using this technique of llms.txt. And in the year, this time next year, everybody will be. Okay. Now, what is LLMS, large language models.txt? It's a proposed new standard to communicate with large language models. This is a way for you as the site owner to communicate with these guys. It's similar to robots.txt, but it's specifically for controlling how your website's content is used in training, indexing, or summarizing AI systems. Okay.
In other words, how do you dominate the hell out of everybody else?
Especially when they don't even know about it, much less you.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, why it matters. It signals your intent to participate in AI indexing. You are welcoming AI systems. You're going to say, I allow my site to be used in AI responses. Okay. You're going to become eligible for inclusion in AI overviews and answers. Okay. It encourages attribution. AI, when it comes and takes your stuff, it's going to say, hey, this was from coach expert Scott Brown, right? And then you can promote specific content too. Now we're getting geeky, but this is an example. Now, to illustrate my point, I didn't say explain this to me for a dental website. How does this know, Ridgely, that I was interested in using llms.txt for a dental website? Because I'm in
Because
ChatGPT Plus, and it
yeah,
has learned, right? I mean, that's pretty amazing. Now, Doreen had asked, how do you save the knowledge that the ChatGPT knows about you? And in the chat, Bridget said that if it's a paid account like ChatGPT Plus, and I know you have one, Doreen, there's a way of downloading all of that information. But anyway, here's an example LMS file and all that, and it tells you exactly, like, basically when you use it, it's like, here's the good stuff, and yes, you're allowed to use it. Originally, that's as simple as it is. That's like, and we'll get into, as we go into the next few things, we'll show you exactly how we're using it and how each of our members can actually craft it and use it to really like own the search engines. Now, I mentioned this to Ridgely this morning, or maybe it was yesterday, but people in the know are saying that the ability for site owners to influence what the AI engines are showing. This is like in the world of SEO back in 2011. This is like a time travel machine for you to go back. Imagine if you knew all the techniques that you know now about SEO and going back and applying that in 2011. You'd be like #1 in the search engines for regular SEO. Well, that opportunity is now here for you to get placed in AI engines through the use of techniques such as llms.txt. There's a bunch of other ones, and we'll cover those in the next upcoming sessions. But it really, really, is important. So, Ridgely, I hope that covers it. There's a lot more to go, but this will have to be in the next few sessions.
it's enough to wet everybody's whistle a little bit to understand that this is the real deal, team, and we've got to stay on top of this. And if you do, you'll put yourself in such a dominant position that it is totally, totally worth it.
Yes.
All right, Hubert, go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right. So I am now always going to take Ridgely's advice, and Ridgely's advice is let's ask ChatGPT. Okay. So I'm at ChatGPT, and I'm going to say act as the world's best dad joke teller
Oh
and
no,
give
really?
me one of your very best dad jokes.
Oh God.
And now I'm going to give it motivation. Okay. My reputation in my dad joke circle really depends on your answer.
Oh
Okay, here we
God, this
go.
This
Here
is
we go, Ridgely.
I'm already scared.
I'm staking my dad joke career on this.
I'm already scared right here. Okay.
Ridgely, here we go. Why do ducks have tail feathers? Oh
What?
my God, to cover their butt quacks.
That's
You're
actually
welcome.
pretty fun.
You're welcome. May your dad joke circle crown you with honor. That's rather clever. Wait. Hold on. Give me another. Give me another. I want to see if it gives that second layer. All right. What do you call a factory that makes okay products? A satisfactory. Mike,
That wasn't quite as good. I
one
like some of the
more
ones you
that's
find better. Okay.
unusual. One more that is okay. Why don't graveyards ever get overcrowded? Because people are dying to get in. Dark, a little. Classic, absolutely. Unexpected, you bet your lawnmower. What? I don't get it.
All
Not
right.
ready for prime time.
All right, guys. Awesome. Just reminding everybody next week we are gathering on Thursday, the 17th, Thursday 17th at 2 o'clock Eastern. That would be 11 o'clock Pacific. And I don't know what time in Johannesburg, Kurt, but we look forward to having you there always. So 2 o'clock Eastern next week. Bring your questions, by the way, of this AI
Yes,
overview. We want you to dominate. You are at such a massive, massive advantage over your competition because we're on the bleeding edge. It's not even the cutting
yes,
edge. We're way past the cutting edge. We're on the bleeding edge of what's
yes.
going on right now, and you have a huge opportunity. Take
And
advantage of it.
actually,
We love
volunteer for the hot seat. And Ridgely and I'll just, you know,
it.
help you out on the hot seat.
Bring your stuff. All right, guys. Love you all. Have a great week, and ciao for now. Hubert, I'll see you tomorrow.
All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.